read, although I just wanted to highlight that, as I signalled at the September meeting of Council, the Government is continuing with its proposals for reform of the Local Government Act. That is the sort of most strategic level that we operate at, and I would recommend that councillors take every opportunity to soak up all of the information that gets provided with regards to those changes to the Local Government Act. The timing of the bill is challenging because it's been released sort of prior to the Christmas period, which is a similar timing to the last changes, Local Government Act amendments. It causes problems with Christmas breaks looming and breaks for councillors over the Christmas period. We haven't got a date set as yet as to when that bill will come out, but it's very imminent. Of course, there will be a flow of information via email all the time for you. Once we've had an opportunity to review the bill, we will circulate information as much and as widely as we possibly can. Just to let you know as well that in that space, and it's been ongoing for a number of years now, but it continues to come. There's changes to the Resource Management Act, and there's a new bill expected before Christmas as well. So it will add to everyone's workload in terms of keeping that strategic focus on local government. Other than that, the issues are mainly operational. I've put some commentary in there with regards to local government reorganisation and amalgamation. Again, I would recommend that if you're not understanding what's going on in that space, that we do plan a workshop at some point in the future. I wouldn't say sometime immediately, but it's an area that we do need to get ourselves informed of as a council, so that we're prepared for any eventuality into the future. Other than that, I'll take the item as read, and people are free to ask questions.
Can I just ask a question, Your Worship?
Yes.
Got a new term there, spatial planning. Can you give us some idea of what that actually means?
Spatial planning is a term that's been termed in the last sort of couple of years. The first spatial plan that was developed in New Zealand was legislated for, and it was called the Auckland Plan. Since the Auckland Plan was legislated for, government has been pushing regional councils to lead what they would term spatial planning exercises in all of the regions. Both the Waikato and Bay of Plenty are currently ongoing with spatial planning exercises, and basically it's an investment tool for engagement with central government. So it's a plan, a land use pattern plan, it's an economic development plan, it's a plan that is designed to endeavour to ensure that the country invests as wisely as it can in its major elements of infrastructure and its major elements of policy development for the betterment of the nation's economy.
Oh, that's fine, Mr. Williams, as long as we weren't going out into space or something like that.
Yeah. Any other questions for Mr. Williams?
Mr. Williams, I just had a couple of quick questions, thank you. Just in the financial update for future reports, it'd be really, really useful to have another column that shows in terms of the full year budget, what the actual budget was in the annual plan, because I see that we adjust the full year budget accordingly. But what would be really useful for me in terms of tracking is to see how that relates to the figures in the annual plan that we set. Does that make sense? Cool. I just find that really, really useful.
Alan, would you be able to?
You're able to do that?
Sorry, the full year budget.
Yeah, you know how
the annual plan.
Yeah, but you've got full year budget, but isn't that the adjusted figure that you've made adjustments to during the course of the year?
No,
it's not. Because if you have a look, just take for example the operating surplus. We go full year budget, the figure that's there 8675, but that's an adjusted figure. That wouldn't have been the figure that was in the plan, correct?
Yeah,
sorry, it's just
Yeah, you know, I totally understand your point. Oh gosh,
we just had the sound adjustment.
As you can see, we provided the reconciliation on the page.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the purpose of why we've done it like that, and happy for any change, but perhaps if I could explain the purpose. The full year budget is shown in that column, but what we have intended to do is to include in there any additional resolutions that council has passed. To give you the full picture, because otherwise you only be getting part of the picture. What you will see in future reports, and in the first September one we don't generally do, is we add another column which is a forecast year-end position.
Sure.
And that's one that tends to be more useful, but
okay.
Certainly open to suggestions.
Yeah, no, because it's quite useful from my point of view when I look at financial results to say what our stake was in the ground at the beginning, and so we can see how we're tracking, because it helps me fully understand. And I agree with you, I'd love to see that other column on forecast as well, because then that shows us if anything's going wobbly sooner rather than later,
Correct.
from my point of view.
Absolutely.
So I'd really like to see that, please.
So, do I get the steer from all councillors that you would like what will effectively be 2 additional columns on that report, one being the annual plan fixed in stone, one being the forecast, and then do you still want the one that includes the additional council resolutions there, or we can include that in the forecast actually, so just one additional, the forecast and annual plan one, that'll actually pick that up.
No, thank you, because that would just really help with visibility for me. Would be great, thank you.
Your Worship, very quick question in regards of page 6/7, in regards to the leaky home claim, it appears to be 90,000. If we look at the brief annual report summary, it states on the back of that the financial exposure maximum of 750,000. Is that 90,000 part of that, or is it a new figure that's not included in the 750,000?
That was in respect, excuse me, that's in respect of more than one property.
90,000.
90,000, and I think the 750 you're referring to is per property.
Well, yeah, it possibly is. I don't know that, hence I raised the question.
Yeah.
I suspect
we'll confirm that for you.
Yeah, I have to confirm it. It'd be easiest.
Councillor Hickling.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. Just a clarification, 6/6. It's grants and subsidies. And I read in D, you talk about 173k operational activities and 59k unspent grants carried forward. Could we have a bit of a description on those, please, Neil? 6/8 under D. And I'm assuming that refers to those grants and subsidies on page 6/6.
Yes, it does. I'm just finding it at the moment actually. So, yeah, so you're talking about D on 6/8 and the explanation that's there?
Yeah.
So sorry, what was the actual question, Barry?
Well, it says the grants from central government, I assume, but it's not to do with roading or anything, is it? Or what are they?
Yeah, I'd have to get the actual list, but we
roughly, not, you know.
Yeah, we get different grants, like I'm just trying to think of some of the safer community grants,
okay,
and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
Would the TV claimback subsidy be an example? Up in the landfill?
Sorry, what was
subsidy with regards to televisions at the landfill?
Yes, that will be one. Yeah.
For TV reclaiming.
So what generally happens on those grants is you get granted a sum of money. And invariably it'll span a financial year. So you have a reporting requirement back to the agency that gave you the money.
Yeah.
So we hold effectively that money in our ledger and we track the expenditure through on that. But if that spans a given year, like this example here it's showing, then that's why it's basically given in the narration that's in there.
So the 59,000 was carried forward from last year?
Yeah, that's right. So for example, that may have been a $100,000 grant. We spent 59, sorry, that would have been 41,000 last year and 59 to be spent this year, and then you report back to the agency that gave you the grant.
Okay. Okay.
Councillor Johns.
Sorry, I have one last question, I promise. I noticed on the reports, Rob, that our external borrowing ratio is right up at the 15% threshold. What, if anything, are we going to be doing to mitigate the risk of such a high percentage?
I can answer that if you like.
Cool, thank you.
The borrowing limit of 15% there is the debt to equity one.
It's getting up there, isn't it?
Well, it's actually too low, to be honest. The comparisons, and we've had our advisors actually have a look at a number of other councils, Rotorua, Christchurch and Wellington, to name three. Their debt to equity ratios are actually set at 20. So our advisors are actually saying that our limit at 15 is actually too low. Probably the more relevant parameters there to look at is the LGFA covenants. So there's two things.
Where's that one there?
So that's on 6/15. It's the last two boxes. So you have the internal borrowing guidelines, and guidelines being the key thing there, and our advisors are telling us that we should change that third bullet point to 20% to be more consistent with the rest of the country.
Yeah.
But the LGFA covenants, they are indeed covenants. You cannot breach those.
Yeah.
But the guidelines is kind of like an operating guideline, and our advisors are saying that we should move that percentage to 20.
Okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions of all that particular detail on the council body?
Just very quickly, in the report that the CEO put out prior to the election, it mentioned that the TIL fund had 53 million in it. That's the figure that's used in the document that we're looking at the moment, but something in the back of my mind says it's 57.7. Am I right or wrong on that?
Yeah, that's incorrect. We report on the TL fund in each annual report, and if you go back, as at year end it was 53. It's just over 53 now, and has been for around that level for a period of time. So I'm not sure where you get your 57 from.
But that was just a figure that was in the back of my head from somewhere, I don't know.
I'd like it to be 57. It would be if we weren't doing a rate subsidy.
You're very lucky you're not in a new car, sir.
Okay. Right. Any other questions regarding that comprehensive report? All the divisions? Very good. Well, perhaps if I could have a mover, the report will be received, please. Councillor Park, seconded by Councillor Stewart. Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those against, carried. Item number 7. Engagements, council engagements, December 2013.
Excuse me, thank you, Worship. Most of those meetings we actually had a look at the previous council meeting, but really, and there was a few changes that happened subsequent to that, so just basically shown them in there again so that members are aware of what those changes were. The other one that I'd like some steerage on is the tour of Turangi and Mangakino, and you'll notice that got the afternoon of the 12th and the 17th, and really just wanted a guide as to whether you wanted it split into 2 half days or whether your preference would be for a full day and just go around the lake.
Okay, that's the December the 17th one, isn't it?
Yeah, so the 12th of you did a half a day and just did Turangi or Mangakino on the 12th. You probably end up getting quite late, as you see, 5:30 by the time you take into account travel, or whether you, as I say, leave it for the 17th and do a whole day, or 2 half days on the 12th and another half day on the 17th.
Worship, I'd like to say that I won't be here on the 17th. I would like to be there for the whole bus tour with the councillors. That's just my preference.
Exactly the same as myself too, Tina. I prefer to do it all on the same day as well.
Okay.
Can't do it on the 12th.
Something else.
You already got a workshop and you've got a meeting with the 2 boards there, so
we can just either do one on the either Turangi or Mango on the 12th.
Yep.
Yeah. So we can't do it all in one day.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
I won't be here on the 17th.
Okay. So what would councillors like to do? Do it all in one day, or do a half day on the 12th, or just as listed there?
It sounds like half a day on the 12th and 3 councillors aren't going to be here on the 17th. So is it worth reviewing that date, and I can find something different for the Mangakino section.
Mangakino section, yep. Okay.
Yeah, and the second part of that is emergency management conference. Being held on the 25th and 26th of February, just for councillors who might wish to attend that, please.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. I did have two expressions of interest, I think, Councillor Park, Ms Keane, and also Councillor Truman.
Clarification, Your Worship, is a staff member also attend that conference?
Yes.
So effectively we're looking at 3, not 2.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I would just query to add to that.
Yes.
Please. Usually would be the emergency manager, but also because he doubles up as the principal rural fire officer, we still have to wait and see how that sort of pans out as well. So normally, yes, he would be attending.
You worrying whether it's a fire or not?
Well, depending on the volume of work and the nature of the conditions at the time.
So total would be 3. Is that right? 3 attendees from the council. So any other questions?
Could I just raise the point? It's not included in here. John Williamson and myself indicated we wish to go to that financial meeting in Rotorua. However, we were horrified when we actually, in fact, got the cost of nearly $600 per person before travel. So we both cancelled on a cost-saving basis. I think we really need to look at what we're debating at the moment, and I would suggest that the chairman of that particular committee goes and then reports back to her fellow delegates. Remember, I think there are 4 councillors, in fact, on that committee plus. So that's the way I look at it.
Okay. Any other comments or questions?
I guess I'd just make the comment that I think we need to be prudent in who we're sending to what at this stage, and I would recommend just one councillor.
I would agree. We're meant to be showing some prudency.
Perhaps if I just go around the room, Councillor Park, obviously, Councillor Stewart, what would your view be on?
I think it's imperative that Anna is there and she can bring back the information.
Okay. Any other? Okay, so the general flavour seems to be just one councillor. Am I getting the steer there? Are you happy with that, Councillor Truman?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what the council feel, but I just would like to say that we could have gone to the councillor induction, and we could have gone to financial management, but again, we've done that. So this is one area that I think that I need PD in.
Yeah.
I haven't gone to the others because I don't think I need it, and I think that you two should have gone to the financial management if that's what you felt that you needed extra information on. If you know, I think this is why we're here. This is our job, so that money is budgeted for that job. I wouldn't do something if I didn't think I needed it. So that's how I feel. Another one is we've got that making good decisions. I mean, a few of us have got that, and we haven't used it in our whole triennium that we've been here. And I know Mike didn't use it in the whole 6 years that he was there, or once. Yeah. So, but I know we need people on it, but that's a huge cost. But the benefit we got from doing it was, was immense. We learnt so much. So, I mean, this is our job. This is why we're here. This is what I think that I would like to go on so that I can learn more about this area.
Your Worship, I'll just make comment on the reasons that we decided not to go. The prime one was cost, but when we looked at what was on the agenda, I believe that we've got the resources within this office for the present staff to actually undertake the same exercise we would have gone through at Rotorua.
And actually, I supported that view as well.
Councillor Hickland?
Yeah, I'd like to support Kirsty here. Emergency management is quite an important role, and whilst I know we've got one councillor going to the conference, which is the chairperson, I would actually support Kirsty in also attending. I think it's important to come up to speed with some of these things when you get put on to a committee. And I've got to say now that I'll be wanting to go on audit training as the chairman of that committee. And I would expect some support from other councillors to also attend. These things are very important, and I think the councillors need to be trained.
I fully respect that, but I think we've got one councillor going and one staff member. That's enough representation. We've got to show we were elected to a platform of being frugal with our money. We've got to show that's what we're doing. That's what I feel. As small as it may seem, it shows that we are watching and we're leading.
And I'd just like, sorry,
Councillor Harvey was next, sorry.
Sorry.
I was just going to make a suggestion. I agree with you, because I understand that, but perhaps if we do want to do something extra, perhaps we pay partly to ourselves to go to something like that?
I think with Tate's argument, Councillor Cousins' argument is, it's more prudent than frugal. So if Kirsty believes that she's going to add value to the whole committee, I think I would support that.
Councillor Jollins?
Look, I'm 110% behind personal development, but I do debate the value of a $2,000 conference, to be frank. I think if great on Kirsty, and I'll be looking to her for guidance in the future on it, but I'm sure there are other ways we can upskill ourselves than spending $2,000 going to Wellington.
Okay, all right. My view is I agree with Councillor Trewavas. We do owe it to the community to upskill ourselves and to civil defence is a huge part, has been in recent events. It's a huge part of the community, and I endorse Councillor Park, and you're always learning, and appreciate the cost as well is quite expensive. But we do owe it to our people out there that we must keep ourselves up to speed when we do have an emergency, and for geographical reasons, of course, Kirsty is the councillor that represents a large part of the district out there as well. So, but I'll be steered by you good people. I think the general numbers are that possibly only one councillor go. We've got the first part, the information of the resolution, information relating to engagement, so we're all clarified on that. The second part, the councillor, Councillor Park is the chairperson at this stage, and I would suggest, I think, I'd like to move that Councillor Truman attend as well, but I'll need a seconder on that. Okay, so that's sending two councillors? Yes. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye. Those against?
No.
Against.
Can I have a show of hands, please, just to clarify that? Against? 1, 2, okay. Resolution is carried. Thank you.